On three. One, two, three. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of True Crime and Cocktails. We're so glad that you're here. As always, I am your host, Lauren Ash, and as always, I am joined by my co-hostess with the mostess, Christy Oxborrow. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Tell me something good. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I'm living for it. Look, I mean, we're recording this obviously before it releases. But between now, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
obviously,
we do record all the episodes before they release. Yes.
this shit ain't live. The fact that we don't edit, it makes it seem live, but it's not. Obviously, I just meant we tend to, it didn't make sense. But between this record and this dropping in reality, in real time,
Hmm.
Screamsgiving is going to happen, and I'm elated. I'm elated.
Yes,
I could not be happier.
that's very exciting.
And I also really need the time to start working on that cosplay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now my cosplay is again quite simple. Just had to do some purchasing of pieces, not trying to
Yeah.
rub it in. But
Mm.
I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm just like, mine was one I kind of have to build. One was just buy some pieces, and I was going to kind of make accessories to go with it. That was going to be time consuming.
Hmm.
And by was going to be, I mean will be, because it hasn't happened yet. But don't worry. In the time before I've even started, I've added another project because I got an idea and I simply thought it would be funny. So I've added to the cosplay pile of things to do simply because I think it'll be funny. It may fall apart between now and then, and I may have to just forego it, and that's okay. But we'll see. We'll see how energized I get about 12 hours worth of cosplay work time
Right.
when I
All with the
scream giving.
dulcet tones of all of the Scream movies in the background.
Yeah, look, am I going to be mostly distracted during the first one because Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, that's bigger than me.
Now, is that Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich?
That is.
Mm,
Yeah. They are favorites of mine in that entire franchise.
I assumed.
But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Am I going to spend all of Scream 3 bitching about Courtney's bangs? Of course I am. And I can't wait.
Yeah. I love
Can't
this for
wait.
you.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I bought snacks today. I don't think I bought enough snacks.
Hmm.
So I may have to run out tomorrow and see if I
Is
could
there,
do
can we ever buy
more.
enough snacks though? Like, really?
The answer is no, because you don't know what you're feeling until
Yeah.
you're in it. And I don't want to leave the house that day. That's my goal, is to just stay inside.
Yeah.
I already don't know that that's going to happen, but I just don't want to leave my home.
I don't think you should have to.
That would be ideal. That would be ideal. It's also supposed to rain pretty much all day, and it might turn to snow. And that really got upsetting to see snow in the forecast. I'm
I
not
don't
ready.
want to I don't want to be like a basic bee and complain about the weather, but
Hmm.
here I am. And I think it's also to be noted that again, this is I haven't been in Toronto in a change of seasons in a long time.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
But I need you all to know
Hmm.
that on the weekend, less than a week ago, it was 30 degrees Celsius.
Hmm.
Someone else do the conversion for the Americans, but
Of course.
30 degrees Celsius. Yesterday morning, I got up, I went into the hall, and one of my neighbors said, "It's cold out there." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "It says right now it's one."
Hmm.
That is not the kind of shift that human beings
Hmm.
can survive. You can't swing by 30 degrees.
It's insane.
It
Like
was freezing.
this
I,
morning.
I came back in, I got a coat, I put Bean in a coat. I was like, this is
Hmm.
nuts.
This is, and just welcome to middle age, folks. Um, just us talking about weather. This morning, when I got up, -5. This afternoon,
No.
+18.
See, no, these are I forgot
Nope.
about this.
Hmm.
I forgot about this. I have not been here for a stretch this long in oh my God, 15 years? Like I have maybe no, maybe not that many, but the 13, 14 years. Yeah, I forgot about this. I because when you in LA, it's like the weather it changes. I mean, it does get
Of
colder,
course.
but it's such a kind of like slight change over
Mm,
time. It's like I don't look at the weather there every day. I forget that when you're here, you have to look at the weather every day
every day.
because it's gonna change. It's gonna
Yeah.
swing. It's gonna swing
Mhm.
wilder than my emotions.
And honestly, maybe that's why. Maybe it's the swinging weather that's making us lose our minds.
Listen, listen, it's true. It's true.
I just
Uh,
hate the one temperature at one part of the day and then one temperature the next. And I mean, again, the last day of summer here, it was in the 30s. The next day, the next morning for first day of school, it was like 6. And we were
this
like,
reminds
wow.
me. This reminds me of the thing from my childhood that used to kill me the most, which was my mother when we would go into a store in the winter-ish months.
Her coat.
She would take her arm out of one arm of the coat, but she'd keep her arm in the other arm. She's laughing right now listening to this because she knows. And it just killed me. I would always say, on or off? On or off? Just pick one. We have a
Yeah.
cart. You can put your coat in the cart. It was just, and I think, and now listen, I mean, I'm sure she can attest to this. I feel like over time she started doing it just to get at me, but maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it's the
Mhm.
one arm in, the one arm out. I'm like, you're dragging the other arm on the floor. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But it's this weather.
It is. The thing is, I forget. You've told me about this coat for so
Oh,
long, off and on for
I know,
decades.
I know. It
But
is
I
one of my
forget.
biggest things.
I forget how much it kills you. For whatever reason, it just cracks me up that that's your thing. Is her half on, half off coat. And as soon as you said it's the weather with my mother, I was like, oh my God, the coat. I'd forgotten about the coat. And then every time you mention it, it kills me.
You know, there's definitely something for me to interrogate personally about why
Yeah.
it bothers me that much. I don't have a full answer to that, but yeah, you're
Mhm.
right. It is for some reason that
Oh.
that it just kills me. I don't know. I don't know. We all have our things, you know what I mean? We
Mhm.
all have the like the things.
Also, as someone who's, of course, watched your um, the closet videos you've made of all of the
Yes.
items, a lot of that was half on, half off with the
Hey,
shoulder out, shoulder
first of
comfortable
all,
clothing.
first of all, how dare you? Second of all, you raise a great point that we
Mhm.
were really into the one shoulder numbers, but
Yeah,
that is how the garment was made. If there's two sleeves, I want your arms in them.
yeah. Yes, I can. The thing is, I've never seen it personally, but I can visualize a half on, half off, and that it would drive me crazy. Yes,
Yeah,
I can see myself going on or off. Like
that was it.
I
Yeah, it
can
was like
see
on
it.
or off. Just choose one.
It just
Anyway.
makes me, it just charms me because of all the things to get annoyed with. It's like at least it's like nothing harmful.
Oh yeah, listen. I
But
mean, it's mostly all in good fun. No, it's fine.
except well, now that got it publicly, now she's just gonna do it more.
No, oh, don't encourage her. But listen, you know that segues beautifully into we have to give a little shout out to Mother Laurel. She's been on the road with me for some of my concerts.
Oh,
Some of you dear listeners met her in London and in St. Catharines, and listen, she's just an absolute gem and rock star in that merch booth. She comes alive.
oh,
She's got a whole system. And when I was the third show that we did was in Guelph and it was a festival. So they have festival merch people.
oh, sure.
And Laurel has said so many times now, well, I don't know what I'm going to get back. I don't know what the state of this is going to be when I get it back. And I'm like, I get it. You have a system. And to be honest, I will be honest. She made a very clear system on a piece of paper, very clear. Did they
Yep.
use it? No. And did I get upset about it? Yeah, I did. Because I was like, it's all there, guys. She's made it so easy for you. Why do you have to just fight it? There was a column. They could have written it in the column. What do? They write it off to the side. Just write it in the column. Anyway, we appreciate if you're listening from Guelph, appreciate your work. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm being protective of her systems. That's all it is.
Of
Um,
course.
but anyway, she'll be with me. The day this episode drops, I'll be in Kingston.
Oh, love that.
So she'll be with me. So if you're coming to Kingston, come out, say hello, give more Mother Laurel some love. Here's the other thing I have to update you on though, and I haven't told you this.
Oh, I can't wait.
So I believe it was Jess. Uh, Shout out Jess. I think a fairly OG listener, if not completely OG listener. I should have checked in about the details. Point is this: brought up the friendship bracelets.
Oh, yes.
And so I had been encouraging people here on the show. I've been encouraging people on my socials. Hey, it would make my dreams come true if all
Yeah.
y'all make your Brit friendship bracelets and you start trading them at the shows. Well, people have been doing it.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I've started one of my wrists. I wear like my fun rock and roll stuff, but the other wrist I've started
Mhm.
wearing the bracelets people have been giving me.
Oh my God, the two halves of Lauren.
It totally is.
Yep,
It totally is.
I see it.
Um,
Hmm.
and a couple of things. There's also there's someone who's sent one for you that's very elaborate,
Oh,
like beautiful. Like some of these are quite ornate, like thick. It's hard for me to just. I wish I had one close. I could show you. I'll show it to you on a break. But anyway, uh, so here's the funny part.
hmm
First of all, nothing funny about it. It's making my heart swell. I can't believe that people are doing this.
Of
People have put like
course.
also some like deep cut lyrics on them. Like some of them are like more
Oh,
obvious lyrics, but then some of them are like um uh whoa, I'm trying to think of what they were. I should have prepped for this. The point is that I love them all, and all of you who are doing
hmm
it, you're making my dreams come true. Please keep going. It's so fun. I love that you're trading with each other. It brings me so much joy. Anyway, so in Guelph, so I haven't been talking about it in the show, but in the main show that we're doing is different than the festival set because I don't have my all of my
Sure.
pomp and circumstance and pieces that I do for the main show. So if you only saw me in Guelph, come to the Toronto show November 18th because it's a bigger show.
Hmm.
Uh LaurenAsh.band for tickets. So I bring it up. I'm like, you know what? This is great. I said I'll take an opportunity and I'll shout this out and I'll talk about the bracelets. And so in this we're at the festival grounds and I'm
Yep.
saying like, some of you have brought these bracelets and it's so amazing and you're trading with each other. Here's what I didn't anticipate. People start throwing them.
Oh
And
no.
so people start chucking them up onto the stage.
Hmm
And then I
hmm
bend over to try and pick one up, beans me in the head. I take one right in the noggin.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Anyway, so here's my only request. Please don't throw them at me.
Yep.
I do a lot of
hmm
head movements. If you zig when I zag, I might take one in an eye.
Yeah.
So here my request would be place it on the stage. If you want to give it to me, just place it.
Sure.
Just place it there. I'll pick them up. I'll pick them up.
Of
If you're further
course.
back, maybe have such a pass it forward. You know what I mean? Like this kind of thing. If we
Yeah.
just gently lay them on the stage,
Could we
that would
have
be
like
more
a,
ideal for me.
could they leave them at the merch booth? Could there be like a little bracelet basket
Oh,
or
need
something
one,
that
take one. Like a
in
take a
sort of
penny,
like
leave a
a,
penny.
yeah, in like
That's
a, hey,
cute.
this is where we can put our bracelets.
I love that idea. Some people have also been giving them to Mother Laurel. So they've made some
Of
for her. They've
course.
also given her some for you and I. But that's a very good idea. I feel like having some sort of bracelet basket may be the move. Again, I'm only worried about my eyes
Of course.
and the
Mm.
eyes of my wonderful band.
Of
I, you know what I'm saying?
course. Of course.
Um,
Safety
anyway,
first.
safety first.
What a nerd when you're talking about a rock concert, and my response is safety first.
What? Listen, I know. I know, but this is also, this is also coming from somebody. I'm tiger bombing before these shows. I'm Robaxa setting. We know the truth. We know the deal. Listen,
We
here's the
spent
bottom
10
line though.
minutes talking about the weather. They know.
Yeah, I know. Anybody who's listening to this show already knows. But I'll say this. Last thing on the matter, it's never the last thing. Last thing on the matter is I come alive on that stage.
You
It's
do.
been a it's
Yeah.
been a lot. I'm not going to get into it, but it's just been such a absolute insane roller coaster. Much more so than I would say anything else I've ever done. The journey getting me to this tour
Mm.
is has been wrought. And when I get up there, let me tell you something. I think this is akin to childbirth. It's like I forget. You know what I'm saying? It's like I forget the pain, I forget the stress. I just go. And boy, oh boy, just in heaven. It's the
Mm.
greatest. So good luck getting rid of me, is the point. Good luck, folks.
I I love this so much. I'm not taking away from what you've just said by what I'm about to say. I truly could see it being like a giving birth moment where you forget uh because you're in it and it's all of these things. Um Sometimes I close my eyes, I still remember how much pain I was in with my first.
Mm.
So many people have been telling me for decades, like, oh, once you hold that baby, you forget. I'm like, I've never forgotten. I can't, it's
Well,
fine. It's fine.
it
Um,
should also be noted once I come off the stage, it
yeah.
it comes
Mhm.
back. So yeah, I hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I
I
hear you.
mean, I also realize, I mean, it took me a very long time to get there, but I realized that especially that first birth was so traumatic for me, and I think that's why I remember it the most. Because I don't think
Yeah,
they factored in redheads are different with how we take drugs and like the levels of drugs in our body and anesthesia and stuff like that. So they gave me too much. And then we're like, well, now we have to wait. We can't give you more for another hour. And I laid there and watched a clock move every minute until they could give me more because they messed up with the amounts. Because again, there's something about redheads and medications and pain is different to us or something. I don't know. I have to look into studies, but I just know definitely with like anesthesia and stuff, we require more than average.
right.
I don't know
Right. And you
why.
know what? This makes sense because I know that Mother Laurel has also had things with anesthesia, and I know that I'm not a redhead, but we have such a strong redhead
Yeah.
line in our family, and
Yeah.
I have weird things with anesthesia.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like for me, when I go to the first time I ever got a filling,
Mm.
um they gave me the shot or whatever, and they waited the time, and then they started to drill, and I raised my hand and I was like, "Should I be able to feel everything?"
Oh, yeah. I remember like dentist like 25 years ago when my wisdom teeth needed to come out and he gave me all the stuff he needed to give me. And then I was like, this is incredibly painful. And he told me to suck it up because I was a big girl. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, it's shocking I had trauma.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's there's something about redheads and medications and something about how we feel pain differently than non-redheads, which is fascinating
Yeah.
in
Well,
itself.
yeah, those fillings, I ended up taking, I think, 4 rounds of Novocaine. It took.
Wow.
Yeah. I could still felt everything. But then an hour after we were done, it like hit me like a wall. Like it's something about like how
Mm.
we metabolize it or something, I think.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
It
Cause
just
yeah, then
takes
I was
longer to
like,
get
oh
there.
shit, now I'm completely numb. But it took
Yeah.
twice as long for it to work for some reason. I don't know.
Mm.
But
Mm.
that is fascinating. That is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's also something that we didn't know like 20 years ago, or it wasn't,
Right.
people weren't talking about it. It's only been within the last few years that I've heard any mention of it.
Yeah.
But I do like that there's that moment of, you get on stage and you're having your moment and you forget what a pain in the ass it can be getting
Yeah.
there. So I like that. I like the metaphor of it's like they've placed the baby in your arms, but this time they've put baby on a stage. And, you know, yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense to me.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love this with the bracelets.
It's
I
so fun. It's so
I
fun.
love
It
this.
makes me so happy. I wish I had them. I should have. I didn't realize I was gonna. Well, we never plan anything for this show. So, oh wait, I do have some of them here. We
Hey,
never plan anything for this show, so I don't have any. I mean, there's so many great ones. Look at this. Oh, here's a good one. I need an exorcist. That's a line from Diet Coke and Lexapro.
I love
Love
that.
that. Look at this. This one's dumpster fire, but there's like heart beads for some of the letters. I mean, so
Oh,
cute.
that's cute.
There's another dumpster fire. Diet Cokey.
Oh, I did see photos of the Diet Cokie shirts.
Yes, this one says Diet Coke and Lexapro around the whole thing. Love that. Also,
Love
look,
that.
this one doesn't have any letters. How cute is that one?
I like the coloring of that.
Right? Oh my God,
Yeah.
there's way more. There's way more in here. What's this? I buried you. Love that. That's from the day I got over you. CMWYGT. Call me when you get this.
Love that.
Yep. I mean, again, I've got tons of them. There's more and more in here. But oh yeah, look at this one too. So pretty.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, y'all made my damn day. Oh, this one says Lauren fucking Ash. Love that.
Love that energy.
And so please keep it up. But again, I just beg you not to throw them at me.
When in doubt,
Please, please, please.
when in doubt, maybe just leave it with
Just
Merch Mom.
yeah, leave it with Merch Mom. Place it gently on the stage. These are the better options. Because not only me, but I have to protect the eyes of those boys up there. You know what I'm saying? They're
Of
good boys.
course.
They're good boys. They are good boys.
Oh God, I love how
So
quickly you
talented.
turn into a mother.
Listen,
I
you
love
got
it.
to. You
I
got
get
to.
that. I get
Yeah.
that. Protective of her boys.
Yep. Well, it's
I
like
get
you
it.
and your flyers.
Yeah. Look, did I say some things about those boys to those boys? I mean, to the TV, in that first game? Yeah. Yeah, but look, I'm just happy to have them back.
Yes.
I'm jazzed to have that. I'm I'm jazzed that it's spooky season.
Well, may I also, I mean, you don't need to be jazzed about it, but I will say what I'm jazzed about is that we're in October baseball.
Oh, yes. I did
And
see her win.
let me tell you something.
Hmm.
This is the one time that our sports have overlapped. So this is the first week ever
Yeah.
that we were trying to schedule records around two different sports.
Yes, I did say we could like at the first when you were like, "What is your schedule like?" I was like, "Literally any day but that." And
Yep.
then I did walk that back and go, "It's fine. I can record that day if we need to."
Right.
Because I
But we
also
didn't.
realized, right, we didn't. I also realized I scheduled Thanksgiving dinner on game day.
Listen, I got
It's
to tell you
fine.
something.
Yeah.
Watching the Toronto Blue Jays
Oh,
beat the New York Yankees
yeah.
in Yankee Stadium.
Mm.
And that's the game that was like that clinched them getting into the semifinals. I'm just using terms you'll understand, folks. Um, so
Yeah.
that was the win. I don't think I've ever
Okay.
seen anything more delicious. Beating the Yankees in
Now,
their stadium, delicious. Oh,
now for baseball, how many games do they play in each of these series?
so the quarterfinal is best of five, I believe. The
Got it.
semifinal is best of seven, and the World Series is best of seven. So
Wow. And then is it
need
like
to,
a back and forth for home games or two at two, two at one, two at the other? Got
yeah,
it. Got
yeah,
it.
and it goes back and forth.
Okay.
So the boys are back in town. I'm not even, it took every ounce of me not to sing that. I should have just done it. The boys are back in town. They're back in town. Um, Sunday, Monday, Sunday, Monday, and then
Oh,
yeah, then it goes from there.
does it
So I know
affect
what you're thinking.
things?
Do I have tickets? The answer is no. People are shocked. I'm going to tell you why.
Right.
My stomach is turning.
Expensive.
Well, yes, but
There's no
no.
price. There's no
There's no
price.
price. But this is the thing. This is the thing. If
Hmm.
I'm going to spend the money,
Hmm.
I'm betting on the big show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to spend the money now.
Hmm.
I'm betting on the big show because
So,
they win this next round. They go to the big one, and that's when
okay.
Mama might go a little nutso. You know what I'm saying?
Now, this is something to discuss off the record,
Okay.
but does this affect you for us recording Monday?
No, I
Okay.
haven't looked at they haven't posted the time of the game yet, and I figured we could probably figure it out.
Well, because you'll love, I mean, I just assume that's the day we're doing it anyway. But you'll love, I was like, if I'm like, these are the days. And then I was like, I can't Sunday because I'm Scream's Giving.
Yep.
And then you were like, okay, Monday. I was like, Monday works. Monday's our first home opener. I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh
But
no.
it's fine. They're not gonna win. So it doesn't matter. No, I hope that they do. I love them so much. There's just so many new faces. It's upsetting.
Mm,
But look, I could not be happier to see Toronto doing as well as they're doing. Toronto Blue Jays, let me say that to be clear. I just don't want anyone to misconstrue and think I may have meant the Maple Leafs.
we would never.
Yeah.
We would
Scott
never.
Lawton, I still think of you often and miss you and wish you well personally as a person, just not your team.
Do you like that within hand's reach I have this postseason Blue Jays hat?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because now who are they up against next?
I don't think it's been determined yet. There's
Oh, that one's
baseball.
still
This
going.
is I believe so as of
Got
this
it.
record. As of this record. I just
Got
checked
it.
like an hour ago.
As far
So
as I know, the Phillies are still in it. I don't know. I don't
I
I don't follow baseball. Um, I follow Philadelphia sports,
right.
and so I get all the sports.
I
And
think the Cubbies are still in it. The Dodgers are still in it. Um,
mhm,
I part of me thinks
mhm.
we may see Jays Dodgers in the big show. And I feel like if I don't call it by its real name, I'm not jinxing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm. I'm just tickled that you call them Cubbies. Like it wasn't just Cubs, it was Cubbies.
I
Your
feel
your
like because
Chicago your years in Chicago are really
I
coming
was just
through.
gonna say, I feel like because I lived there and I went to enough
Yeah,
Cubs games, I feel like I can call them the Cubbies. I think they'd
of
be okay with it.
course.
I do have to say, I did enjoy that. I got some texts from old Chicago friends I haven't seen in some time. But when the Jays won the other night, beating the Yankees, my phone did start to blow up with some Chicago people, and I was like, I like that they all know. They all know what this means to me. They all know. I want to
Of
remind you,
course.
it's been over 30 years.
Hmm. Oh, you're preaching to the choir
I
about
know.
that long. Not in my lifetime yet.
Maybe this is the year it turns around.
So cute. Yeah, yeah. Again, we're in a rebuild.
I was just gonna say isn't that what we all say? Isn't there
Yeah,
also like I mean there was honestly there was like 10 years of the Jays that it was like we're rebuilding. It's like, are you?
yeah, yeah. Eh. Look, I mean, I always hope for the best, and you never know, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Uh, but again, the amount of times that I have said out loud after being like frustrated and yelling things and swearing and all of these things, then I've been like, God, I've missed this. And my husband's
Yeah.
like, have you? And I was like, yeah. When I pace, when it's a shootout and I'm like screaming and I'm choosing the players who should be going up and they're not getting picked. Um, and then I'm, have my rituals and then it's like, oh, they won a game, so I can't wash those pants because then I have to wear those pants the next time. Like that, like those kinds of things that make him worry about my mental health. Um, yeah, those are moments where I'm like, God, I've missed this. And he's like, have you?
It's like
Have
that
you?
moment in the Sex and the City first movie when Samantha's wearing like a white fur coat and then some animal activists throw red paint on it and everybody's like, "Oh." And she goes, "God, I missed New York." It's I feel like it's that exact same thing
It's
where
the
it's
same
like,
energy for sure.
yeah, where you're like, God, I've
Yeah.
missed this stress. Yeah.
Yeah, look, do I feel alive during a shootout? I do. Do I have a weird thing where I feel like whatever chant I choose, I have to say it 3 times? And for every time if I say it, what I have to say it in threes because for some reason that's the number. Yeah. Look, also, am I the one who's like, oh my God, I love you so much, like so much love. And then at the same time, the same woman who goes, it's the square, it's the red square, put it in the red square. I'm also that woman. I'm also the woman who screams, like, give it to the guy in orange, any of the guys in orange. Like, yeah, I'm also that. I will say this is our first season with a different coach now that Torts has left. It's just if something happens, the cameras don't automatically pan to our coach anymore. Because it used
Mm,
to be pan to him because he's going to be losing his mind,
right.
and he's not. Like the Torts energy is still there. It's just coming from me.
Right.
But
Well,
we'll see.
you're keeping his spirit alive.
I I am. And look, I it was like the first day of school because seeing everybody, I was like, oh, JJ and Boosh, like it's nice to see them again. And it's Ashlyn. And then Gritty is messing with Ashlyn. And like just the amount of times I'm like, oh, this is lovely. And like, yeah, it's just a happy reunion that makes me sad. It's it's fine. We'll get there. It's gonna be one of those seasons it always is, but shout out to the Blue Jays. What a beautiful thing.
What a beautiful thing. And speaking of feeling alive, I think every show I've done so far on the tour of it, at some point I've said, God, I feel alive. And one of those
Hey,
times was when I was performing outside and in the middle of Blow It Up, a mosquito or flying insect of some kind actually went down my throat. And
mhm.
I shook it off. I didn't let on, but
Yep.
trouble. I mean, I choked. I choked a little. It was hard to breathe. And then I think
Yep.
at the end of that song, I said, God, I'm having a hard time breathing, which makes me feel more alive. And really, it's only when we face
Mhm.
death that we really appreciate life.
I'm shocked that you didn't call this tour God, I Feel Alive.
Lauren Ash, still here.
I like that. I like that energy a lot.
Yeah. What you drinking over there?
I have a Pepsi slush because it was close to my home and I was gonna say I only had so much time before this record. I had so much time. I had endless time. I could have done anything. I was just lazy.
You're not lazy, you're resting. We need rest.
We do. I have to accept that sometimes it's okay to lay down
Yeah.
and relax and do nothing but feed your animals in your tiny zoo.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, am I
Mm.
drinking a Diet Coke from Wendy's? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I am. I found a Wendy's in my neighborhood. Guess what? It's been a bit of a problem.
You and I have had very passionate talks about the Wendy's nugs.
You know what? It's a decent product. So's that burger, though. Those burgers are
Oh,
good. They're
I
better than they used to be. They really are.
I'm still housing baconators, but
Oh, that's just a
yeah.
mess.
But I will say, the last time I went to Wendy's, the last couple of times, I do a chicken burger.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
gonna do
what it
that
is.
next. We'll try that next. Well, listen, on that note, let's get into the case. Today we're discussing Girly Chew Hossencofft. Um, I know nothing about this case, and I could not be more excited to learn all about it from my best gal. So let me get us all up to speed right now. In the early 90s, Girly Chew Hossencofft believed that she was living the American dream. She had recently immigrated to the country, married a charming surgeon, and worked a job that she loved. But a few years into the marriage, things took a turn when Girly discovered that her husband was not only cheating on her, but he had also been lying about his true identity. When Girly confronted him, her husband became abusive, so Girly filed for divorce. Months later, when Girly went missing, police immediately believed that Girly's estranged husband was to blame. And while on the surface this case may seem cut and dry, it also includes a sadistic con man, fake cures for cancer, aliens, and cannibalism. So, what happened to Girly Chew Hossencofft? Was her husband involved? And how the heck do aliens fit into all of this? Christy Oxborrow investigates.
This one goes a lot of places.
I guess so. I mean, that synopsis
So,
alone took me on a
yeah,
ride.
yeah. So, disclaimer, this episode will contain mentions of intimate partner violence, so trigger warning for those who need it. And when it comes to research for the episode, I watched season 1, episode 8 of Charmed to Death on Oxygen and season 2, episode 18 of Someone They Knew with Tamron Hall on Court TV.
Ooh.
Court TV. So, Girly Chew was born August 27th, 1963 in Malaysia. She dreamed of moving to America for a better life, so she would visit as often as she could. In April 1992, Girly arrived in San Diego. There she went to SeaWorld and met another tourist named Dyson Hossencofft. Now, just a quick note. I have heard his name pronounced both Diazin and Dyson. So for the sake of consistency, I'm just going to go with Dyson because it's the pronunciation that I've heard the most, and because honestly, I could not give less of a shit about this man.
He
Within the
gets what he
next
gets.
within the next hour, I guarantee you'll feel the same. But that's where we're at. So, Girly was excited to meet Dyson. He seemed warm, charming, and extremely outgoing. He was originally from Switzerland, but was now living in the US, working as a doctor who specialized in genetic research. Girly and Dyson continued to hang out until Girly returned to Malaysia, and after that, they stayed in contact. A few months later, Dyson asked Girly to move to the US to be with him. She did. The couple settled in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Dyson soon proposed. The couple was married in 1993. About a year later, Girly got a job as a teller at Bank of America. She had previously worked in two different banks in Malaysia. Early into the marriage, Girly felt like she was living the fairy tale life she'd always dreamed of. But Dyson always seemed to be away at some sort of medical conference, and Girly was often left home alone. The couple wanted to have children, but struggled to conceive in the first 4 years. Then, out of nowhere, in late 1996 or early 97, Dyson returned home from a trip to Mexico with a baby boy. Mhm. Dyson told Girly the baby's name is Dimitri and she is going to raise him.
What?
According to friends, Dyson told Girly he had taken samples of both of their cells and created the baby in a petri dish.
Oh no.
It doesn't seem that Girly believed that, but she immediately fell in love with that baby and she raised him as her own. But even with the new addition to the family, Dyson still spent a lot of time away from home, which caused a lot of tension between them. Dyson was then diagnosed with cancer, so he was away even more often because he said he needed a blood transfusion every week, and that would require being at the hospital for 24 hours each time. And while some conditions do require a person to have weekly blood transfusions, I don't really buy it in this situation, mainly because there was no proof that Dyson ever really had cancer. But according to him, not only did he have cancer, but he also cured it himself with a miracle serum of his own making.
No.
Again, we're not buying it, sir. And
No.
honestly, I don't think Girly was buying it either. Dyson had this office in their house. It was always locked, always. Girly was never allowed inside, even when Dyson was there. Now, I said it before during the Birgit Meyer episode. I'll say it again. As a wife, my husband having a room in our house that is not only locked, but I'm not allowed inside is a massive red flag and a big ol' hell no from me, dog. It's not about the room. If my husband wants a room that is considered only his and we have the space for it, Go for it, bud. But keeping it locked means you're hiding something, and I'm not ever going to be comfortable with that. Case in point, one day in early 1999, Girly noticed the office was left unlocked. So she went inside and she looked around. What did she find? A birth certificate for her husband proving his real name was Armando Chavez Jr., and he was born in Houston, Texas.
No.
Just a reminder, he told Girly his name was Dyson Hossencofft, and he was born in Switzerland. Girly found more documents proving that Dyson wasn't at all the person he claimed to be. He had told Girly he was a thoracic surgeon and he had medical degrees from the University of Tokyo and Cornell Medical College. But that was a lie. It turns out that Dyson was expelled from medical school when the school discovered he lied on his transcripts when he first applied. Yeah, he doctored his transcripts to get into medical school. Pun fully intended. What a nerd. So after getting kicked out of med school, he changed his name to Dyson and started claiming to be a surgeon from Switzerland. According to his resume, he claims he moved to the US in 1970, which is strange since he was born in the US in 1965. I guess he was hoping no one was actually going to look into that, but you know, I guess also the 90s or at the time he was looking for jobs in the 80s, people aren't exactly checking the internet.
Yeah,
So, I
great
mean,
point.
uh, but we know he wasn't really a surgeon. So what did this man do for money? Because they were very well off. The answer is he conned people. He pushed this miracle serum that he said cured cancer on unsuspecting people who actually did have cancer. Dyson was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year conning people, including one cancer patient who gave Dyson nearly $500,000.
Ooh.
He also conned friends and acquaintances by tricking them into investing in his miracle serum business. One elderly neighbor invested his entire life savings into that serum, believing it was a cure for cancer. It was not. How can I be sure about that? Because Dyson pushed that exact same miracle serum on older women, claiming it could stop the aging process. Basically, when Dyson met someone with a need, he lied and said his miracle serum could fix whatever that need happened to be. So basically, just a modern day snake oil salesman, because in the end, the miracle serum was really just shots of vitamin B6.
Oh my God.
But wait, if Dyson wasn't really a doctor, then where was he? All those times he told Girly he was at a medical conference. Well, when he wasn't off conning his innocent people out of money, he was just outright cheating on his wife. Dyson
Mm.
was having an affair with a Japanese woman in Canada, and when that woman got pregnant, Dyson convinced her to give the baby to him when the baby was born, which is how Dyson magically showed up at their house with a baby.
Oh my God.
But that wasn't Dyson's only affair. It turns out throughout his 6-year marriage to Girly, Dyson had numerous relationships and was engaged to 3 separate women, including most recently to a woman named Linda. But we'll get into Linda in a moment. Um, Once Girly learned who Dyson truly was, she confronted him and he responded by threatening her life. He smashed the windshield of her car, and one time Girly caught Dyson in the garage loosening the lug nuts on Girly's car tires.
Jesus.
When Dyson realized he had been caught, he started choking her. She thankfully managed to get away and run to a neighbor's house. Girly said Dyson had been abusive towards her and Dimitri in the past. Albuquerque police were called to the home at least twice for domestic incidents. The day after the choking incident, Girly told coworkers that Dyson had attacked her and she was planning on leaving him. She said she was terrified that he was going to kill her if she stayed. She said if anything ever happens to her, Dyson was likely responsible. In February 1999, Girly moved out, filed for divorce, and obtained a restraining order. Unfortunately, since she had no legal claim to Dimitri, Girly was forced to leave him behind. She requested custody of the child, but Dyson refused. And just because he is nothing but a controlling monster, shortly after Girly moved out, Dyson put Dimitri up for adoption.
Oh my God.
Clearly, he never wanted children. It's just such a gross power move to put the child up for adoption after denying custody to Girly. After Girly moved out, Dyson went on dating sites where he claimed to be the loving single father of a 2-year-old boy. Clearly, he left the adoption part out of his profile. After meeting on the site, Dyson started dating Julie McGuire, a hotel owner who lived in Aztec, New Mexico, which is about 180 miles north of Albuquerque. At the time, Dyson was 34 and Julie was 50, which on one hand is refreshing to hear a man willing to date a woman older than him. But on the other hand, the bar is so low that it's almost painful at this point. But almost immediately into their relationship, Dyson started pushing his anti-aging serum on Julie, which she later admits she did fall for. He told her that because they would be dating, he would offer Julie the first dose for the low, low price of $3,200, which is equivalent to about $6,200 in 2025. No judgment to Julie. Dyson was charming, and that's what con men do. They charm people into believing whatever they want, and since Dyson was making a living off his cons, he was clearly very good at it. But Dyson didn't just try and charm Julie with his fake medical credentials. He also tried to tell her that he was 1,000 years old and only looked as young as he did because of his miracle serum. Oh, and because he was part alien.
Julie.
Hey, in her defense, that was the moment she went, something seems wrong.
Okay. Well, okay.
So,
Good.
yes, this was her moment to go, okay, is he for real?
Yeah.
So at that moment, Julie asked a friend who was a police officer to do a background check on Dyson. And immediately, the first thing that popped up was Dyson was still legally married, which Julie was shocked by because he told her he was long since divorced. And when Julie confronted Dyson, he told her his soon-to-be wife or ex-wife, Girly, was the one dragging out the divorce because she kept asking for more money, which is untrue.
Yeah.
But he said that Girly wouldn't be a problem for long because he had people who were going to take her away. Julie said Dyson did not elaborate any further. A few months later, on September 10th, 1999, Kathy Freeman showed up at Bank of America at 8:45 a.m. When Kathy noticed Girly wasn't there, she was immediately suspicious because Girly was always the first to arrive. Kathy called Girly's apartment, but there was no answer. So Kathy immediately called the police and asked them to do a wellness check on Girly. Shout out to Kathy for taking the situation seriously and acting as quickly as she did. And shout out to the police because they followed through immediately. The property manager let the police into Girly's apartment. There was no sign of forced entry, but the police quickly noticed 3 large bleach stains on the carpet in the living room and drops of blood on the couch. There was no sign of Girly. The apartment was immediately sealed off. A forensic team was called in. Again, shout out to the police for how quickly they acted in this situation. They did a luminol test on the carpet. An overwhelming amount of blood was found. So much so, it was believed immediately that Girly was either severely injured or possibly dead. The forensic team also discovered cat hair in the apartment, which was weird because Girly didn't own a cat, and neither did the tenant who lived in the apartment before her. A few hours later, a road worker discovered a bloody shirt and a bloody tarp along Highway 60 near Magdalena, New Mexico, which is about 103 miles south of Albuquerque. He immediately contacted police, and when they arrived, they discovered a long piece of duct tape which had strands of long dark hair attached. The shirt, tarp, and tape were all sent to the lab for testing. That same day, Girly's purse was found discarded on a random street in Albuquerque. Girly Chew Hossencofft was described as a Malaysian female, 5'1", 95 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Early in the case, police knew that something bad had happened to Girly, and due to Dyson's history of domestic abuse and the fact that he had been threatening Girly ever since they separated, police immediately believed that Dyson was involved. But when the police went to Dyson's house to question him, they found the house completely empty and Dyson was nowhere to be found.
Whoa.
Police spoke with Dyson's girlfriend, Julie McGuire. She had no idea where he was, so they looked through the adoption paperwork that Dyson had filled out for his son, and they noticed that Dyson had listed a woman named Linda Henning as his emergency contact. Not to be confused with the actress Linda Henning, who is best known for playing Betty Jo Bradley on Petticoat Junction in the 1960s. The Linda Henning I'm referring to is the same Linda I mentioned earlier, who was engaged to Dyson, even though he was still married to Girly, and had only known Linda at that time for a couple of weeks.
Oh boy.
Linda Henning was born in Hollywood, California in October 1953. Her father left when she was 11, and people have said Linda spent the next 30 years desperately seeking male attention. In an interview with Oxygen, author Mark Horner said, quote, "This is a person who, according to her own mother, would believe the moon was made of cheese if a boy said it."
Mm,
Just such also an interesting way of putting that.
yeah. It's also so sad. Like,
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
After graduating from high school, Linda worked as a model, which led her to becoming a fashion designer. She put out her own line. It sold well, so Linda moved to Albuquerque in the late 80s to open her own shop. By 1999, Linda's shop was successful. She owned her own home, and she was engaged to a man named Stephen Zachary, who sadly had been diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor and multiple sclerosis. Linda met Dyson Hossencofft at a UFO conference in July 1999, about 6 weeks before Girly's disappearance. Dyson told Linda that he was a former member of the CIA and a doctor who had invented the cure for cancer.
No.
Linda begged her fiance to meet Dyson. Stephen refused, so Dyson called him and said he was a doctor and he could cure every problem that Stephen had. Stephen was skeptical, so he hired a private investigator to look into Dyson. The PI discovered Dyson's real name, as well as the fact that Dyson was not a doctor. In fact, on his resume, Dyson listed a medical school that doesn't even exist, and claimed he received his undergraduate degree from a college which only accepts female applicants. So, if you're gonna lie, be better at it. Um,
Yeah.
so when the PI gave Stephen the information he had, Stephen told Linda that Dyson was a con man. She got angry and broke up with Stephen, even though she'd only known Dyson for 2 weeks. Police interviewed Linda on September 12th, and she said her relationship with Dyson was strictly professional because he was battling cancer and she was his caretaker.
Oh.
But even the police knew at this point that Dyson absolutely did not have cancer. Linda said that Dyson was an absolute gentleman, the smartest man she'd ever met, and that he had never said a single negative thing about another person or even raised his voice. Linda said she didn't know where Dyson was, and then she suddenly became uncooperative. So after her interview, Linda started staying at various hotels in town. She changed her location every other day. She changed what car she drove multiple times, which, that's a very clear sign that someone is trying to hide, probably from the police. At this point, police believed Linda may have been one of Dyson's scam victims because it really seemed like he had manipulated or brainwashed her. When police spoke with Dyson's neighbors, they said that on September 9th, the night of Girly's disappearance, Dyson had showed up at home in a brown Honda. Dyson did not own a brown Honda, but Linda Henning did. So Dyson shows up in this Honda. His neighbors described him as frantic and sweaty. They said he ran into his house and then came back out and left a few minutes later. But after that, there had been no sign of Dyson, so the Albuquerque police brought in the FBI to help with the search. And on September 22nd, the FBI discovered Dyson over 1,600 miles away in Charleston, South Carolina, living with a new fiancée named Cheryl.
How? How?
Yeah. Dyson denied any knowledge of Girly's whereabouts, but was extradited back to New Mexico to speak with police. Once Dyson was found, Linda admitted to the police she was also in a romantic relationship with Dyson, and they'd been together at her house on the night of Girly's disappearance. Police got a search warrant for Linda's home, where they found a .22 caliber Beretta, a shotgun, and a ninja sword that was hidden in the ceiling of Linda's garage. I believe it's a katana, but everything just said ninja sword, so I went with it. My video game background says katana, but I do.
I
Everything
trust
says
that.
ninja sword. I'm running with it. With the sword, they found a receipt showing the sword was purchased by Dyson the day Girly went missing. The sword was also found to have a small spot of blood on the handle, so it was sent to the lab for testing. Also found at the house were art sand, glitter, which is relevant because both art sand and glitter were found on that bloody tarp that was found on the side of the road. Also found on that tarp, cat hair and pink dyed deer hair. And while investigators couldn't account for the pink animal hair, they did discover that Linda owned multiple cats. The same art sand, glitter, pink deer hair, and cat hair were also found in the trunk of Linda's brown Honda. In October 1999, the lab released the results of all the testing on items found along the highway, as well as the blood stains in Girly's apartment and the blood on the ninja sword. The stain on the handle of the sword was inconclusive, but the blood on the shirt and the tarp was a match to Girly Chew Hossencofft. Girly's blood was also found in her apartment, along with a second blood source. The second source was a match to Linda Henning, which means there was clearly some sort of physical struggle between the two women in that apartment, and Girly fought back. The piece of duct tape that was found was also analyzed. It had long strands of dark hair, which came back as a match to Girly. The tarp was analyzed. It was found to have the same art sand, glitter, and cat hair from Linda's home that were also in her trunk. A few strands of Linda's hair were also found on the tarp, along with pink dyed deer hair, which the police really could not figure out where the heck that came from. So police did multiple searches using helicopters and cadaver dogs, hoping to find Girly's remains, as it was believed she had likely been killed. They searched the area 100 miles southeast of Albuquerque, where the tarp and bloody shirt were found. There were a lot of old mine shafts in that area, and many of them were searched, but just no sign of Girly has ever been found. Girly Chew Hossencofft was described as kind, sweet, and always in a good mood. She was loyal, self-assured, and had a big personality. Girly was just 36 at the time of her disappearance and possible death. Dyson Hossencofft and Linda Henning were both arrested for Girly's murder. They both denied any involvement. In November 1999, Dyson and Linda were taken before a grand jury to determine whether there was sufficient evidence of probable cause to go ahead with a murder trial. Linda admitted to the grand jury she was romantically involved with Dyson and that they had been together on the night of Girly's disappearance, but Linda was adamant that she had never met Girly before. But according to records from Bank of America, Linda used that same branch to make a series of deposits, and each time, Girly is the one listed as having helped her. The
Mm.
grand jury believed that Dyson sent Linda to Girly's apartment so that Girly would open the door, knowing if Dyson showed up, she's not opening that door. They believed Girly and Linda fought and that Girly was then wrapped in a tarp and taken somewhere outside Albuquerque. Linda and Dyson were indicted on numerous counts, including first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. And when it was discovered that Linda had lied about not meeting Girly prior to her disappearance, Linda was also charged with perjury. Dyson blamed Girly's death on a third alleged co-conspirator named Bill Miller. 52-year-old Bill was an avid hunter and fisherman with ties to the militia. Bill met Linda and Dyson at a group for UFO enthusiasts who met weekly at a bookstore. When interviewed by police, Bill admitted that both Linda and Dyson had been at Bill's house the night Girly went missing. And when police did a search of Bill's house, what did they find? Dyed pink deer hair, which Bill used to make his own fly fishing lures.
Oh, wow.
During an interview with police, Bill had business cards on him. And in his interview, he kind of had a moment because it was all on camera. Like he had this moment where he was like, oh no, this is evidence. This is going to get me caught. So he started eating the business cards while the police were out of the room. He just started shoveling them in his mouth. So
That's fucking wild.
so he got arrested on charges of evidence tampering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of forgot about that bit when I said this goes on a real ride.
Oh my God.
You don't see that every day.
Nope.
But, um, so while it was believed that Bill may have stalked Girly to find out where she lived and possibly helped kidnap and dispose of the body, as well as other evidence, Bill was only ever charged with evidence tampering. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 months supervised probation.
Wow.
While lawyers were preparing for the murder trials of Dyson and Linda in January 2002, Dyson took a plea deal. In exchange for pleading guilty to Girly's murder and revealing the location of her remains, Dyson would be given a life sentence, which he would serve in Wyoming, specifically because it does not have the death penalty. Dyson claimed Bill Miller had buried Girly's body along I-40 near the Rio Puerco, which is a small river that flows into the Rio Grande. Police searched the area but found nothing. Dyson refused to give more information than that, which to me is against the deal that he agreed to.
Yeah.
But I'm not a lawyer. Dyson denied being part of the actual murder, but for the sake of the deal, he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 60 years and 364 days. Linda Henning was offered a deal in exchange for revealing the location of Girly's remains, but she refused, saying she was innocent and it would all come out at the trial. In the fall of 2002, Linda Henning went on trial for the murder of Girly Chew Hossencofft. Linda was charged with first-degree felony murder, kidnapping, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, tampering with evidence, criminal solicitation, and 4 counts of perjury. She pleaded not guilty to every count. The prosecution argued that Dyson didn't want to share the marital property with Girly in their divorce, so he convinced Linda Henning to murder her. Girly left work on September 9th around 5:15 p.m. The prosecution believes Linda Henning and Bill Miller followed Girly home, knocked on her door, and attacked her once inside. Linda and Bill then allegedly removed Girly's body from the apartment, and Dyson arrived to clean up the blood. But if this is a true story, why on earth would Linda agree to be any part of this? Well, friends of Linda's believe that Dyson drugged and brainwashed Linda by taking advantage of her belief in aliens. Her friends said that before meeting Dyson, Linda had a slight interest in UFOs, but after they met at that UFO conference, Linda became another person entirely. A week after meeting Dyson, Linda started talking about cryostasis tubes that had been put on her street by the aliens. And then a week after that, Linda was telling them that politicians were shape-shifting lizard people trying to take over the world, specifically former President Bush, who Linda said used holograms to appear human. Linda also seemed to believe that during sex, she had the ability to turn into a cat-human hybrid, complete with fangs and cat DNA. Her friends said in a
That's
matter
a
of
new one
weeks.
for this show, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
We've heard a lot on here. It's rare for me to be speechless with a reveal like that, but I don't. That's wowzer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always think at a certain point, like, oh, we've heard it all. We haven't.
Nope,
We have
not
not.
even close.
Nope. So her friends said in a matter of weeks, Linda went from being a successful businesswoman to someone who no longer showered. She wore the same clothes every single day, and she was just overall erratic. Linda tried to convince everyone she knew to buy Dyson's miracle serum, saying he was a 1,000-year-old alien who promised her power. When a private investigator discovered that Dyson wasn't at all who he claimed to be, Linda's friends tried to help her see the truth, but she just cut them out of her life. She broke up with her fiance, then immediately became engaged to Dyson just 2 weeks after meeting him, and then allegedly helped him carry out a plot to kill his wife just 4 weeks after that. And while some of Linda's thoughts on aliens and cat-human hybrids might be a bit out there, her trust in Dyson was very much misplaced, and it all seemed relatively harmless until Linda started telling people that Dyson had appointed her warrior queen for Earth, and she would need to battle alien queens from other planets who were coming to eradicate human beings from the Earth.
Oh boy.
And I know we're talking a potential murder here, so I'm not trying to be glib. But to tell someone that they are the warrior queen for Earth and their job is to fight all the alien queens from other planets who are coming to Earth to claim it as their own before eradicating the entire human race sounds more like the plot of a movie than real life. For example, what movie could I come up with that sounds similar? I don't know, the 2020 Nicolas Cage movie Jiu-Jitsu, which involves an ancient order of warriors preparing for an alien invasion. Or maybe the whole battling alien queens bit is more like something out of a video game. I don't know, for example, the multiplayer action survival horror game Dead by Daylight, where players can battle an alien queen. Technically, it's a xenomorph queen. For our sake, close enough. The fun thing about Dead by Daylight is you can play as characters from other video games like Jill Valentine from Resident Evil and Bill from Left 4 Dead, or iconic movie and TV characters like Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead, Ripley from Alien, Ash from Evil Dead, Steve from Stranger Things. One particularly fun downloadable character is none other than Nicolas Cage. Not a character, literally the actor himself.
Oh my God.
Was that two separate Cage references in a single episode? 100%. I'm just showing off at this point.
Well, the fact that they both
Oh,
seamlessly connected to battling alien queens makes me feel like, honestly, you had to. How could you choose?
how could I not? The second I found out about, as I Googled battling alien queens, and that came up, and then I was like, oh my God, he's a character. Well, here we go.
How beautiful.
Again, it's something that helps take some of the darkness during the light. It gives me some light during the darkness, is what I'll say.
Of
So,
course.
did Dyson Hossencofft brainwash Linda Henning into believing these alien conspiracies? Did he take advantage of Linda's possible mental illness to get away with murder? Or is this entire alien queen drama simply a story put in place to set up a potential insanity defense if they ever got caught? I would almost believe the latter, but Linda's lawyers never went for an insanity plea, likely because Linda was evaluated and determined to be competent enough to stand trial. Um, but the thing that is so wild about this entire alien queen battle story, according to Linda, Dyson told her Girly was one of the alien queens who Linda had to battle for the safety of the planet. And Linda was told the only way to properly battle an alien queen is with a sword, which is probably why Dyson bought a sword the day of Girly's disappearance. And while you would expect alien queens to be the most shocking thing brought up at the trial, for whatever reason, the defense brought in Dyson Hossencofft to testify on Linda's behalf. Now, oh, I hate this man. So, Dyson claimed he had nothing to do with the physical murder, and Linda was innocent. Dyson said Bill Miller was the real killer um, because he let Bill and his militia friends kill Girly because they, and this is a direct quote, they needed to practice killing humans before the final showdown with the emerging New World Order. Mm-hmm.
Why is it his responsibility to provide them with the person to kill? This doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, I also, there's nowhere in my notes. Um, I also think this man had a massive Napoleon complex because it's never been said how tall he is, but I saw video of him and Girly dancing after they got married, and I don't think she was in very high heels, but she was like maybe an inch taller than him, and
She's 5'1".
she's 5'1". So in heels, she was what, maybe 5'3", 5'4"? Like I don't think she would have been that much taller. And he was
Interesting.
shorter, so I think he had some issues with that.
Mm.
But Dyson claimed he didn't know if Girly was going to be killed or not. His only job was to show up at Girly's apartment at a specific time and clean up the scene so that no physical evidence was left behind. Obviously, he did a terrible job. But Dyson claims the only reason that Linda looked guilty was because Dyson had accidentally framed her. Let me explain. A lot of the evidence in this case is circumstantial, so the main focus for the prosecution was the fact that Linda's blood was found inside Girly's apartment. Well, Dyson claims he was the one who put Linda's blood there. Dyson claims when he showed up at Girly's apartment and saw so much blood, he panicked, used Linda's car to drive back to his place, where he grabbed a random vial of blood from his refrigerator. He says he kept those for research. And for those who might think, why on earth would Dyson have Linda's blood on hand? According to his former girlfriend, Julie McGuire, before Dyson would give her his miracle anti aging serum, he said he needed to take her blood as part of the process. Julie said Dyson had at least 2 vials of her blood at his home. So, I mean, again, no judgment to Julie. The moment the man I'm dating tells me he needs vials of my blood, we are no longer dating, whether he's a doctor or not. Sexy vampire like in Twilight, I'll have to think about it. Anybody else? No. But if Julie's willing to give blood to Dyson, it's more than possible that Linda would have as well. Dyson says he believed that by pouring bleach, acid, and another person's blood at the scene, it would dilute the samples and investigators would never be able to figure out whose blood it was.
It's
And
not like red wine, where if you put white wine on it, it takes it out. It doesn't work that way.
yeah, other blood is not a Tide pen. This is what's happening. Yeah. Yeah. I
My
mean,
God.
I know. So the only reason Linda's blood was at the scene was because Dyson literally just sprinkled it around. I just don't buy it. Do I believe that Dyson kept vials of blood in his fridge? Sure. Do I believe that he tried to use one of those vials to confuse investigators? No, I don't. I could just take his word for it. Um, but he's a proven liar, so I won't. The entire trial was broadcasted on court TV, so there are a lot of clips out there of Dyson. And let me tell you, each one is creepier than the last. So first, he walks into the courtroom smiling. I would describe it as almost gleeful. Just a reminder that the trial was meant to determine if Dyson's girlfriend had murdered Dyson's wife. What is there to smile about at that point? It's beyond disturbing to see just how unbothered he was. And then he takes the stand and he smiles at everyone in the room like he just got on stage to accept an award. It was like terrifying to a point. He also spoke in what I assume was his attempt at a European accent. He absolutely butchered it, which is not unlike how I sound on the Patreon brunches when we play the Solve a Murder games. But the difference there is I know I'm not fooling anyone with my terrible accent, whereas Dyson is trying so hard to hide the fact that he's just a fucking random dude from Texas. Now, weird voice or not, I have to mention some of the quotes that Dyson said on the stand, because I think it really shows the kind of monster that he truly, truly is. He said that Girly had tried to get custody of his son. And then he said, quote, "So they make the choice. They took my son from me, and I make the choice to take her life. It's as simple as that."
Whoa.
But Girly didn't take his son away. She tried, but legally she had no case. It was Dyson who chose to give up his son. It's almost like he's saying that he believes that Girly deserved to die simply because she was trying to take something that belonged to him. And I know we're talking about a toddler and not a possession, but I think Dyson only ever saw that child as something he owned, which is beyond gross. A quick aside. After being put up for adoption, Dmitry Hossencofft was placed in foster care. From the sounds of it, he moved around to nearly a dozen homes in a single year, but he was then adopted by a couple in Alaska. His name was changed to Sam. The family eventually moved to Panama. His mother wrote a book about Sam's life. I did not get a chance to read it. But from what I can tell, it seems the child did end up in a stable and loving home. I'm enraged at Dyson for treating that child as disposable right from the start. But I'm happy that the child seems to have found a better life. So back to his testimony. Dyson said, and I quote, "When you decide you are going to commit murder, you decide that you're going to trade your life for theirs. I did that." So, first of all, again, you pleaded not guilty. You said you didn't do it. Then you were like, fine, for the deal, I'll say I did it. And now you're just like, oh, yeah, I absolutely chose this. Um, so, uh, again, he helped plan the murder. He claimed he didn't participate. He said, quote, "I have a job to do. I have this DNA that needs to be destroyed. I have to cover this up. The fact that I used Linda's DNA, oh well." So he claims Linda is innocent, and the only reason her DNA was at the scene was because he brought it himself. And he says, oh well? She's on trial for murder. How is he not taking this more seriously? I mean, I'm being rhetorical because we know the answer is that Dyson is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Despite being in numerous relationships, he was unable to form any real emotional attachments. He was successful, manipulative, and narcissistic with a superficial charm. Um, for those who are interested, because I was like, I was gonna, I wrote the note of because he's a psychopath, and then I was like, is he a psychopath or a sociopath? I was curious about the difference. I found a graphic on simplypsychology.org, which gives you a brief breakdown of the differences between psychopaths and sociopaths. And so I'm going to put that graphic in the case file on Instagram and Facebook, just because you might be fascinated by it. Who knows?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was. So, uh, more quotes from his testimony just to see if the psychopath label is accurate. When asked if Girly was murdered, Dyson said, quote, "Who cares? I don't. I have no pity, no remorse, no sorrow. I wanted her parents to cry over an empty grave. That's what I wanted."
Jesus.
Dark at best, especially given that Dyson had never even met Girly's parents. But I'm sure it had something to do with the fact that Girly's parents being upset would upset Girly, and he wanted her in as much pain as humanly possible, even in the afterlife. Case in point, another quote from him. "The plan was she would be murdered, that she would be abducted. Hopefully, she suffered the most excruciating pain known to mankind." Again, he's talking about his wife. It's wild how
It's
much he hates her simply because she left him. But then that prevented him from being able to control her. But I'm only speculating on that.
yeah.
Um, Another quote from his testimony, quote, "Girly knew she was going to be hunted like the dog she was. And yes,
Oof.
she was like a scared rabbit in an open field. She knew." And while that statement is particularly dark and proves that Dyson is an absolute piece of shit, it also makes it sound like Dyson was present when Girly was murdered.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say it's likely that Girly was attacked in her home, badly injured, wrapped in a tarp, taken out to the desert where Dyson, Bill, and Linda released Girly and then hunted her down. I'm only speculating, of course. I could be wrong. There's just something about Dyson enjoying the sight of Girly's fear and how he described her as an animal that makes me think I might be right. When Dyson talked about the plan to kill Girly, he said, quote, "It was a flawless plan. Actually, if it wasn't flawless, you would have solved the murder by now. 3 years down the line, and you still don't know what happened." What an absolutely arrogant prick. Throughout his testimony, Dyson kept pushing the idea that Linda was innocent and that Bill Miller was the real killer. He described Bill as having a raw, brute skill. So, is Dyson a genuine psychopath, or was his entire testimony just an act to get Linda acquitted? Linda chose to not take the stand in her defense. She spent much of the trial just doodling random pictures of aliens. She didn't seem overly invested in what was happening around her, which was unfortunate because in the end, Linda Henning was found guilty on all counts. It was the first murder conviction without a body in New Mexico history.
Oh, wow.
Before sentencing, the judge offered to give Linda a lighter sentence in exchange for the location of Girly's remains. At the time, New Mexico allowed the death penalty, which it did abolish in 2009, so the judge's offer would take the death penalty off the table. But Linda refused the offer, saying she wasn't interested in deals, she was only interested in justice. She has continued to claim she is innocent and suggested she did not get a fair trial. In the end, Linda Henning was sentenced to 73 and a half years. While in prison, Linda allegedly told at least four people, including two inmates and two nurses, that after killing Girly, she consumed Girly's flesh as part of a ritual, and therefore the body will never be found. Do I think that Linda literally ate part of Girly's body? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. But consuming the flesh to absorb the other queen's power absolutely sounds like a line of bullshit that Dyson might try to feed Linda. So in that case, I think it could be possible. Linda's lawyer denies the allegations, saying it's absolute nonsense. In 2010, the New Mexico Supreme Court overturned Linda's perjury convictions, but upheld the remaining convictions and her sentence. So as of this record, Linda Henning remains in prison. In 2020, Dyson Hossencofft requested that his sentence be vacated as he felt the prosecutors and the Albuquerque police colluded to hide evidence that would have exonerated him and Linda. He also claims he was forced to take the plea deal, to which I say, you absolute piece of shit. You were so scared of the death penalty, you took a deal to avoid a trial. And as part of that deal, you agreed to reveal the locations of Girly's remains. And when nothing was found at the location, you refused to say more. As of this record, the remains of Girly Chew Hossencofft have never been found. In her family's religion, being unable to bury the body means that they believe Girly is doomed to wander the earth for eternity. So just another way that Dyson has continued to harm innocent people while trying to remain in control. I'll say it, he's pathetic. To me, a non-professional, I believe that since Dyson didn't live up to his side of the deal, he should be stuck in prison for life. Dyson's lawyer requested a 6-month extension to collect evidence on this alleged collusion, but nothing has been publicly stated about it since then. As of this record, Dyson Hossencofft remains in prison. May he rot. Reporting for True Crime and Cocktails, I'm Christy Oxborrow.
I loved that May he rot.
That really, that was almost like Angela Lansbury or something.
It
I don't
did
know what
feel
happened.
vaguely British. Yeah. Listen, you said roller coaster. I thought, how much could it possibly be?
Mhm.
And then you far exceeded my expectations. So
Mhm.
let's take a quick break, hit the can, grab a drink, and we'll be back to discuss more about the Girly Chew Hossencofft episode of True Crime and Cocktails.
Okay.
One, two, three. Welcome back to this episode of True Crime and Cocktails. We're, of course, discussing Girly Chew Hossencofft. This was wild. This was absolutely wild. It did
Mhm.
definitely lived up to that description. My God, this man. You know what I think? I'm going to say something. I'm going to skip to the end very quickly and then I'll go back. But I think what's fascinating about him is that it almost feels to me like he was doing one of those true narcissist things where it was like, I'm so much smarter than you, you'll never catch me, etc.
Mhm.
But then when he kind of realized, oh, I guess I am going to be spending probably the rest of my life in prison either way, he just then tried to become a serial killer, like the vibe of a serial killer,
Right?
like being like, I wanted her parents to have to bury an empty grave or whatever, empty coffin, like the darkest shit. And it's like, it's not that I'm suggesting that he's was incapable of that before, because obviously he could have been. Whatever. But
Sure.
it just feels to me like he almost was like, all right, I'm gonna like, if this is my legacy, then I'm gonna like milk it,
Oh, sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So bizarre. Anyway, going back now, I just that was like what was haunting me at the end there. I was like, that's crazy. Um, I mean, these lies, it's just crazy. Um, oh yeah, the fact that it was like the 80s, you're so right. Like back then, in terms of like a job interview, a resume, whatever, like
Yeah.
how are they gonna check a reference? The answer is by the phone number you provided.
Vandalay Industries.
There it is. Like it's possible that they could
Mhm.
look up to double check that you've given the right number, but I don't know how diligent people were being.
I know.
I think also, you don't assume that someone has made up an entire medical school or
Yeah.
lied to that extent. Um, the fact that his miracle serum was just vitamin B6 is so disgusting. The fact, I mean, it's gross anytime someone's conning anybody, but like when it's conning people with cancer out of their money, like giving them
Yeah.
false hope that he can save their lives. I mean, there is just a special place in hell for that. Um, I mean, the fact that Girly told people if anything ever happens to me, it was him. I feel like that's always so chilling.
Oh,
And
100%.
again, believe women when they say that. The details of that child, the fact that he was using that child as this weird pawn is so disgusting. And I pray that his time in the foster care system was good and that he made it through unscathed, because
Mhm.
that system has obviously got a lot of issues. A lot of good too, don't get me wrong, but you just hear the horror stories from the children. So I just really hope that his life, yeah, that with this family, his life. Also wild that it's like they were in Alaska and then moved to Panama. Feels like two sides of a very different coin.
Yeah.
But yes, I hope that he had a wonderful life, because that was a horrible start. Um, the fact that he was trying to convince, I think it was Julie, yes, Julie at the time, that he was 1,000 years old and part alien. And you know what? You're right. Kudos to Julie, who then at that point went, feels weird.
Yeah.
Feels like,
It feels weird in your gut. It's probably weird.
I think if
Yeah.
anybody, look, I've had a lot of men say a lot of shit to me.
Sure.
I think honestly, I mean, I can't speak on it to be honest. I mean, who knows? Who knows if catch me on a bad day, maybe I'd be like, maybe he is. But I feel like that's a new one. That is a
Yeah.
new one. The discovery of these adoption papers saying Linda Henning is his emergency contact, like to discover not only that your husband is nobody, like nobody who they say they are, but then, you go missing and people are like, huh, where to begin? Oh, well, I guess it could be this other woman listed as his emergency contact. I mean, what a
Mhm.
nightmare. And you're right. It's great that this woman, Kathy, acted on her instincts. It's great that the police followed up. I feel like the police went through with it because there was the history of DV, because they had been called to the
Sure.
home before. I think sometimes if it's the first time, that's maybe when they don't necessarily take it as seriously. But this is a great example of it didn't matter. They were too late anyway. Um, yeah, I did write down. It's interesting. Linda is an interesting person. The fact that she had this husband who was very ill, and that her initial kind of like intro to, what were we calling him? Drazen?
Dyson.
Dyson. That's an I and not an R. Look, my own writing.
Doing
I was
great.
like, Drazen. Dyson. The fact that her introduction to Dyson was as a way to try and help her husband. That it was like, oh, he's this doctor, he has this
Mhm.
miracle serum, he can help you. And then the husband's like, I did my due diligence. This guy's full of shit. And she was like, go fuck yourself. I'm out of here now. Like it does feel like there was something happened. Like I do agree, like with
Yeah.
her friends, that it's like, was she, you know, drugged and chemically altered in some way? Was she brainwashed in some real way? Because it's just interesting that her interest in Dyson at the beginning felt like it was a way to try and help her husband. But then very quickly she was like, not only am I leaving you, but I'm going to go with him and I'm going to get engaged to him within 2 weeks. Like this is insane behavior. And I'm literally and metaphorically, this is wild behavior. Um,
Yes.
the fact that she changed so aggressively and then we know went on to do these other things like be a part of a murder. um yeah, I'm just very curious about like what exactly that genesis was.
Yeah.
It's wild. um the fact that the FBI gets brought in when no one can find him and he's found in South Carolina with another new fiance. these
Mhm.
men these men it's
Yeah.
always the same. We hear about these scams all the time. It's crazy. Ladies, if a man is proposing to you in less than 2 weeks, take a beat. Take a beat.
I'm sure there are some cases where that actually works out and things are great and
Sure.
that's lovely. But in
Can't hurt to
20
take a
in
beat.
2025, let's take a beat just in case.
Just a beat. I'm not saying leave him. I'm just
No,
saying give it a second. Give it a second.
let the dust settle a bit.
Let the dust settle a bit. And listen, because if it's the person, then he'll still be there at 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
unbelievable. The fact that there's a receipt the day that she went missing for the ninja sword, the fact that the detail that it's like the only way for you to battle another alien queen is with a sword. I mean, these details are so twisted and wild. Um, I just have to also say, the addition of Bill Miller into this story. Here's my question. So Dyson meets Linda at a UFO meeting.
Yeah.
He also meets Bill Miller at a UFO meeting.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who listens to this show for any amount of time knows, I believe, I believe
Sure.
in other life. I've never been more inspired to never attend a UFO meeting
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as someone who maybe had a loose interest because the Venn diagram of people willing to do murder and interested in aliens, there's a lot of overlap in this story.
Yeah.
It's 100% of the
Mm-hmm.
people who were at these meetings that we know of, not everybody, but the
Yes.
people we've heard about, 100% of them were willing to get involved in a murder. And that feels high.
It really does.
Feels high.
Yeah.
Um, Again, if you're attending UFO meetings, give it a beat. Somebody wants to be friends, give it a beat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that you're not going to make great friends there. Maybe you are. Be aware. Just
Sure.
be aware.
I think that's just solid advice for anyone at all times. Just be aware of your surroundings, be aware of who's in your trying to get into your space,
Yeah.
just
And
for safety's
ultimately,
sake.
do we want to be as jaded as perhaps going by the sacred words of patron saint of the alien world, Chris Carter, i.e., creator of the X-Files? Trust no one. Yeah. Think about it. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the fact that Bill Miller ate his business cards, he maybe he didn't realize he was being filmed, but like,
Oh, I
dude,
have to believe he didn't know, but I'm just like, what was on the cards that he immediately was like, uh-oh, like was it like my name's Bill Miller, I'm murder. Like
yeah,
what was
exactly.
what
Bill
was on
Miller,
the card?
exactly. Bill Miller, hunter, fly fisherman, murder for hire. Like, I'll
Yeah.
dump a body. Like, what are we talking about here?
What was it also, how'd you get it down without without a liquid? Like I have
Oh
so
yeah,
many
the
questions,
mouth
but
would dry so quickly if you put a
yeah,
business card in there. Card
right?
stock?
Yeah, one of the, I can't remember which one, but one of the two documentaries that I watched showed like a brief clip of him like in the interrogation thing, and like someone had walked out and he's just like "Ang, ang, ang," like just like a human um I can't even think of a paper shredder, just like going for it. It was like someone put like McDonald's in front of him and he was like, "Thank God I'm starving." But it was just this moment where he was like, I gotta get rid of this. I'm like, what was
Yeah.
on it?
Was it like militia member? Like
I
what is on
don't
these
know.
cards? Well, yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know. If it were me and I was the police detective on this case back then, I'd find out who made those business cards and send them a subpoena and show me what was on the card.
Yeah. Oh, I would have. I also like. I assumed they left and then came back and were like, he didn't know until they saw the video. But I would have tried to be watching it while he's doing it, and then I would have gone in and treated him like an animal and like smacked the back of his head and been like, spit it out, so that I can see what it is he's eating. I'm just fascinated by the fact that he thought I have to destroy these, and I'm like, why? Again, what was on them? What could possibly have been on them
Well, I
that
also want
he
to
would,
remind you the human
you
body
know,
can't digest paper, so it would have also
can't imagine.
it would have come out on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Oh, I'm
it
not
would,
piecing that puzzle together.
yeah. You need a real young police detective who's
Mm.
willing to kind of subpoena somebody's poop. It can't be the first time, won't be the last.
Poop
Maybe
subpoena.
the first time I've said
Poop
it on this
subpoena.
show, but it won't be the last.
It's a poop now. No, I've got to
I
stop.
oh my God.
Unnecessary.
I
Eh,
love it. I guess for me, the other piece of the Bill Miller of it all, and I'm not being glib. Why? Why?
Why do we have to get him involved?
Why was he willing to get involved? This is
Oh,
the
yeah.
piece of this that I don't get. Why was he like, yeah, I'll help you kill a person? Like, okay, so let's say for a second that Dyson's claim that they needed practice killing people because of the New World Order potential takeover. I don't
Sure.
buy that. He's not a reliable narrator in any of this. I don't believe anything he fucking says, obviously. But let's just say for a second, okay, let's say that's true. How does that come up? How do you get there? How long did they know each other from these meetings? Because we know that he went to a meeting with Linda and it was a fairly quick amount of time between the first meeting and her getting engaged to him. So I guess is it like are we just to believe that Dyson is so charming and convincing that this Bill guy was like, yeah, seems like a good idea.
I mean, one of the documentaries did make a comment that Bill was in love with Linda,
Interesting.
but it also seemed in this group it was well known that Linda and Dyson were together. So I don't know if it was like, if you do this for me,
Well, then think of the
you
layer
know?
of twistedness that means. Linda's doing this because she's in love with Dyson, and then Bill's doing it because he's in love with Linda. Like that's how deep does this go?
Very, apparently.
Yeah. Now the next thing I have to comment on, and I can't believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth.
Cat human hybrid.
Yeah, Linda believed she
Just
could
the
turn
way you
into a
said, yeah.
cat human hybrid during sex with cat DNA. And to that, I just wrote down this brings a new meaning to the term wildcat in the sack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was the broken tone of, yeah. Like it
It's
was.
just when you were listing the things, you were like, well, she
Mhm.
became a different person within meeting him. She started believing in lizard people. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of people who believe in the lizard people. You're saying these things. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, whatever. Not for $1 million in a million years would I have ever put my money on she believed she could transform into a cat human hybrid
Yeah.
during intercourse. That's the other detail for me. It's not that it's like whenever she wanted or if there was a full moon. It's that she was like, no, no, when I bone as a lady cat. Like that's crazy. I don't I also need to
Mhm.
say I try not to use the term crazy and insane when actually referring to something that is a
Sure.
mental difference or a mental illness. I think we can just give me a break for this woman because I just feel like these are things that are so extreme. I have great compassion that there's a mental health situation happening. Absolutely.
Sure.
But that's wild.
It's next level. Like this
It's
was,
next level.
yeah, this was like a, it just kept going. Like at first you're like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, there are aliens. And you're like, here we go. And miracle serums and oh, he's 1,000 years old. And then cat human hybrid. And you're like, what am I even doing here?
Well, and
You know?
then she was appointed warrior queen for Earth and had to fight
Yeah.
other alien warrior queens.
Yeah.
The fact that that wasn't even setting up an insanity plea for her. And then this is the piece of it. This is the piece of it. Is that then she was found fit to stand trial.
Yeah.
So what's up? Because I'm surprised, and I know that it's a bit of a wide berth. I understand that it's like there can be mental health issues happening and you can still be fit to stand trial because you understand right from wrong, you understand what the court proceeding is. Like I get that it's like the two things can exist at the same time. But I just have to say three words again. Cat human hybrid. Like, did that not come up in the meeting, in the sesh? When she was being
Mhm.
psychologically, evaluated, did it not come up at any point that she believed that her partner was was a 1,000-year-old alien and that she's a warrior queen for Earth that had to fight alien warrior queens? Like, I don't know. Like, again, I understand that I'm not in the world and I would have to research like what exactly will have you be found unfit, but like
Mm.
I, the fact that she was found fit actually chills me a little bit because then it's like, so how much of this was he found a woman who was mentally vulnerable, he got himself into her head, he manipulated her. How much of it is that, and how much of this is choice?
Right.
And I think, regardless, I think there's obviously some mental health situations happening with Linda, and I'm not making light of those at all. It's just, to me, it's just very interesting to me that this just feels very extreme for somebody who was found fit to stand trial.
100%.
And again, it does change things, right? Like if they had gone for an insanity plea, if whatever, I think that that can be somehow easier to find compassion than like, oh no, she just really got wrapped up in this guy and believed the things he was saying and then decided, yeah, it is a good idea for me to quote battle this alien warrior queen.
Yeah.
It's wild. Um, the reveal that he had vials of human blood in his fridge and that he
Hmm.
claimed to just grab one and whatnot. This man
Yeah.
is an enigma, the worst enigma ever. And
Yeah.
this is another plea I have. To your point, ladies, if you're dating someone who asks for a vial of your blood, take a beat.
Yeah.
Again, take a beat.
Yeah.
It's sorry, any gender. If you're dating anybody who asks for a vial of your blood, to your
Yeah.
point, sexy vampire, maybe it's a bigger conversation to think about.
Yeah.
Or what I wrote down, peak Billy Bob Thornton. We all know those blood vials
Oh,
existed. But
yeah. Oh
even
my
that
God, I
now, I'm gonna
forgot
say,
that's who she was dating at the time of the.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
I'd still say take a beat.
Take a beat.
Take a
Yeah,
beat.
it's
Just think
it,
about it.
there was also a moment where he claimed he took one of the blood vials, ran out to his car. It was in his pocket, and when he sat down in the car, it broke in his pocket. So he had to go back in and get a different vial. And when Julie heard all of this, she freaked out, thinking, what if he had grabbed one of her vials and sprinkled it around? And I just wanted to go, oh, Julie, you are safe. They weren't going to find your blood at the scene.
Well,
But, you
but
know,
again, I just don't love that he had anybody's blood. Um,
no, no
the
one should be
concept
collecting your blood that's not a medical professional for medical reasons.
in a laboratory,
Yes, no
there
one should
needs
be
to,
keeping your blood in their
no,
fridge.
your boyfriend doesn't need your blood. Nobody's romantic partner needs their blood.
It's
Again, if you're
shocking
somebody, if
that
you're
we have to
into a
say that.
vampire thing, we'll just, you're excluded. Do your thing. If you're consenting adults, whatever. We can't get into it. Okay. There's a whole thing. Some people live as, you've heard about that, I'm sure. The people that live as vampires. It doesn't matter. This isn't
They
about that.
they drink actual blood, not just like something they pretend is blood.
Look,
I'm
I'm
just for
gonna
the
be
sake of learning. I was just asking questions, not judging.
I'm I'm gonna say this.
Mm,
I read something once that haunted me and it's never left me. And I
mm,
don't know if this is typical, and I don't know about the bloodletting communities. I don't know about the
mhm.
vampire arts. I don't know. But what I read this one time was somebody had said that their partner was into vampirism, those kinds of themes, and that
Sure.
he had asked her to save her used.
No, no,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
nope,
Yes. And
no.
it has never left me. I think I read
Yep.
that when I was quite young and it has never left me. So anyway, I think maybe I'm projecting my own discomfort about that story. And that
Mm,
discomfort is my own. You are free to do whatever you want. I'm not judging people to do whatever they want.
sure.
I feel discomfort at that story. I think I'm
Hmm.
projecting that onto this. I think that's what I'm learning in this moment.
Oh, sure.
Anyway,
Sure. Again, as long as everyone's a consenting adult,
yeah, do whatever you want. Do whatever
cool.
you want with your feminine products. Not my business. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But again, if your partner's asking for a vial of your blood to keep in his fridge, just take a beat. Um, okay. The fact that he's spoken a fake European accent, the jig is up.
Oh,
The
yeah.
jig is up, sir. You can let it go. You're from Texas. Um, I wanted her parents to cry over an empty grave. That is just one of the darkest things I've ever heard. And I mean, again, we've seen a lot of killers. We've heard a lot of killers doing this show, and there's people who show no remorse, and there's people that are monsters and all of the above. I think that's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a next level.
Again, it just feels like, to your point, I don't even know that I buy this elusive anger. I honestly, to me, my gut is that he was like, I'll give you a show.
Oh,
Okay,
I could see
I'm
that.
going to
Yeah.
jail for this now. I'll just take on that persona of the bad guy and I'll give you a show and I'll be a monster and I'll say all the things that are going to make you gasp and then I'm going to get all the attention and I'm going to go down in history as being this like horrible person because being infamous is better than not being famous at all. That's what it
Oh,
feels like to me.
sure.
Um, Final thing I have to comment on. It's very interesting to me, and I know we've talked about this in so many different episodes on the show over the years about how fascinating it is when first time killers are able to hide a body and the body is never found. It always feels like it's like, how do they get away with it?
Sure.
My perception is that it is not easy to hide a body. I feel like we've, you know,
Sure.
heard it all on this show. I guess some of my questions here are, what did happen? Was it
Right.
Bill Miller that was involved in hiding that body? Because, spoiler alert, I don't know that I trust Linda to be having some sort of specialized knowledge about how to dispose and or bury and or hide a body. We also
Right.
know that Dyson lied because he said it was buried in one place and then the body was not there.
Right.
I don't know, as far as we know, he doesn't have any history in killing other people. Maybe he does, but not that we know of. So then it comes back around for me and I'm like, is it Bill Miller? Is Bill Miller the piece in this?
Hmm.
Was he the one that was able to figure that out? Was he the one that was able to? Now I understand she was also tiny,
Yeah.
um, being 5'1" and under 100 pounds, but I don't know. Ultimately, it's sick because again, it's like one of them knows. They all know,
Oh,
right?
I
Like, there's
have to
no way that
believe.
those three
Yeah.
people don't know where that body is, what
Yeah.
happened to it. And it's something that I think that's part of the mind of some killers that is so deeply disturbing to me. The idea that it's like there's no benefit, like the jig is up, it's over, you've been arrested, you're in prison, like what do you
Yeah.
care? And so for him to say, I have no pity, no remorse, no sorrow, I wanted her parents to cry over an empty grave. I just think it's one of the darkest things we've heard on this show, and we've heard so much dark stuff on here, but again, it's like, what do you get out of this? And then the idea that Linda is like going down with the ship, man.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm not going to help you because I'm innocent. Well, if you were innocent, why wouldn't you just, they offered you a lesser sentence
Yeah.
if you just say where the body is. And to me, it's not that she's saying I legitimately don't know. I had no part of this. It wasn't my thing. I legitimately don't know. It's the fact that she's saying I'm refusing to tell you because I believe in justice and I'm innocent. What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my big thing is how have they made it so the body has not been found? And yet we're careless enough that the tape and the tarp and the shirt were all found, like on the side of the
Right.
road. So it's like, did they leave it there intentionally? Is this all a game where it's like they're gonna find that, they're gonna know she was probably dead, and then purposely, like, where did you put that body? That no one has found it?
I know. I know. It's so sad. This, I mean, this poor woman, again, who took in a child that was she was just basically handed from her husband randomly. The fact that, she was an immigrant who just wanted this, wanted to live this American life, had had the good job, had like made all of her dreams come true, and then, you know, all because he was a con man who was hiding his real identity, she had to die. It's so sad.
Yeah. Oh, he never deserved her.
He doesn't deserve anything or anybody.
No. I also think to your point that it was he wanted to be famous for how evil he is, and then discovered after like 20 years in prison, no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about this case. I've only heard about it within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think he just didn't get as famous as he thought he was going to get. And now he's like, well, now I have proof that they colluded. And I'm like, 20 years later, you suddenly have proof?
Yeah.
Get
Give me a
bent, you
break.
piece of shit.
Yeah. I do hope he rots. Um,
May Hira. I don't, I don't,
may he rot.
it was very like flames,
Mm-hmm.
like I went a little Mrs. White without meaning to.
Well, listen, we're all better for it. Christy Oxborrow, fantastic work. What a wild case. Truly, I was riveted every second. 12 out of 10. You always impress.
I I'll take it.
And listen,
I'll
thank
take
you,
it.
dear listeners, for joining us on this wild ride. If you haven't already, give us a follow on the socials on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at True Crime and Cocktails, on Twitter at Not Detectives. If you'd like some bonus content, go over to patreon.com/True Crime and Cocktails to learn more about our subscription-based service over there. The only place for official True Crime and Cocktails merch is, of course, truecrewmerch.com. So check that out as well. And if you'd like to come and see me on tour, there's still time to get tickets. LaurenAsh.band. Let's go. Kingston, Montreal. Let's get this thing going. Toronto, November 18th. Let's hit it. Christy, do you want to tell the people about next week's episode?
On the next True Crime and Cocktails, Texas cheerleader murder plot.
That's right. This, of course, was our September patrons poll pick over there on Patreon. You can vote for an episode that we cover here on the main feed of our show once a month. So this is going to be our September poll pick. How exciting. Christy, do you want to say goodnight to the people?
Because it was yesterday from the day this drops. Happy 5th anniversary to us.
Oh my God, happy 5th anniversary.
How fun.
How delightful.